Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Hope everybody is doing well. And this is my first time I'm on YouTube Live. I'm really excited about these things while doing the live session today. And thank you, everyone, for joining this live session. So, now today we are going to discuss about the case studies, how to understand the business requirement if you are start to work on a project, or if you are getting a job for interview preparation and they are giving you some guidance. In that case, yeah, just checking me, can you hear me clear? Can you hear me clear now? Okay, thank you for your confirmation. um okay, so as this is the first time and I'm working on multiple screens, so it may be a little bit slow in my operations because I need to communicate in these three different screens. Yeah. Okay. So it means I have a little bit slow voice, so I will try to speak bit louder. Okay. All right. So can you please ping me where you are from just to start this streaming process? I am reading your comments. Good morning. Hello. Sakshi Naik is from Bangalore. Ravi Kiran is from Hyderabad. Okay, welcome. And Sai Raghavendra is also from Hyderabad. Lokesh Kevala is from Maharashtra, Pune. That's good. All right. So Deepthi Patil is from Bangalore. Okay. Okay. Anji Babu is also from Bangalore. Balaji from Vizag. And Narayana Dina from Bhubaneswar. All right. So I think few of them I know about them because they have commented on my videos. I believe so. Uh, Harika from Tirupati. All right. Tell me about the difference between business analyst and data analyst. Okay. For the Q&A related things, just you can please post your questions with the Q symbol, and I will try to uh, make it align and give the answers at the end of this session. Okay. Ramana is from Bangalore, and Sojana is from Anantapur. Shakti Sama is from Hyderabad. Okay, now, so we are now 15 minutes from the live session. So let's get quickly started. I'm sharing my screen now. Okay. All right. So basically, case study. There was a few questions which I usually receive from the users about the following. First is how to understand the data. So whenever they got any project from the business or from the company during the interview process, then they don't understand the data itself. And the second question which I usually get is how to understand the business requirement. So when they go into and land into a job and the company assign them a job, at that time when they receive the data, it is hard for them to understand the business requirement. This is also one of the challenges which people usually face here. And the third one is how to find the right columns or the tables for the requirement. This is just the few questions which I have taken for to discuss in today's stream, right? So basically, these are all, it usually happens for everyone when they start doing the job for the Power BI or any other field. So for me, I have just summarized a few answers for this. It's actually the first thing is business will provide the POC document or any detailed requirement how the KPIs or any of the tables, visuals, line chart or bar chart should be there and how it can be calculated. So these are the things which they usually provide whenever you land into a job. It is not like they will just give you the list of tables and ask you to prepare the things. It is not like that. In my total almost 6 years of experience in Power BI and 15 years of overall experience, I have not seen such kind of experience that the business will give you the document. Without document, they will give the just data and ask you to prepare the document, prepare the report. So it is not like that. Basically, business will provide you the POC document or any kind of understanding, a small document, so that you can start working on the project by using these KPIs and metrics, how they are working, how they are usually following. Maybe what will happen is most of the companies are now switching it from the regular reporting system, whether it is a crystal report, whether it is an Excel report, and now they are switching it to Power BI. It means they have already existing something which they are usually following. It is not like something which you need to build a new for the company. It's the existing report system which they are following. You just need to convert this existing report into Power BI dashboard or report. So it means whenever you do that, they are going to transfer you and give you all the information which is required for you, whether it is a small business requirement or it's a large project. Everything will be given by the business for you to clearly understand. Okay. The next thing is you need domain knowledge. It's actually a question. It is for me. It will be good if you have the domain knowledge, but it is not mandatory for you to have the domain knowledge because we start to work on a different background. For an example, we started working as a fresher 5 years back, let's say for 5 years back, right? So the company which we used to work, they are generally a manufacturing company, right? So in that company, people will make the report and do the analysis based on the manufacturing and based on the production, whatever they do, and based on the customer orders, right? This is the main thing. But the HR and finance, it usually occurs for every industry, whether it is a manufacturing, whether it is a sales and service, or whether it is any kind of retail or something else. For every industry, the accounts, finance, and HR is mandatory, right? So we usually do this kind of requirements. Okay, so now the domain knowledge for you is required or not, right? It is not mandatory for me. If you have experience in manufacturing and when you do a job for Power BI development and the client which you are assigned to, they are into a different domain, like if they are into sales and service, in that case they will transfer you the knowledge of how these things work and how they are usually do these kind of reporting and everything, so that you can get the domain knowledge and also build the report on top of that. For me, it's actually building a report in Power BI is not just a single thing. Even for the personal experience, you need to get the domain knowledge to whatever work you are. Whether if you are a Power BI developer, if you are not a Power BI developer, if you are entirely into different background, that's also totally fine. But gaining a different domain knowledge, domain in the sense not in the IT skills I'm saying, it's the business domain, that you need to understand the functions of the HR related stuff. You need to understand the functions of the finance related stuff. You need to understand the business requirement of the production, manufacturing, sales and service, customer service. There are multiple business domains are there. If you land into a job and you need to have understanding of the business requirement, I will suggest you to do first understand the business requirement, and then you start building the report in Power BI. What will happen by doing that is you will get the business knowledge, that's one thing, and it will be easy for you to understand the metrics whatever they are using, and it will be easy for logic to apply in Power BI. Without understanding the data, without understanding the business requirement, even though if it is a small Power BI report, it will be hard for you in order to build the report. You are going to face a lot of challenge, and you will be confused about how these things work and everything, and how you need to take the tables from, and how you need to build the report, and a lot of things will come as a challenge while you develop the report. Okay, so second, the next thing which I usually answer is you can consult with the business for any clarification, right? So even though if you got all the POC requirement, even though if you got all the business domain knowledge, but we are not superhumans to remember everything, right? So whenever you have any issues, you can just consult with the business for any kind of clarification. They will be really helpful for you to give you the revised clarification if you have any. So it is must for you to understand the business requirement first, and then the domain knowledge. And if you have any doubt, then you can consult with your business people. And the last thing is about their database. This is really most of the people are confused about it. Basically, the database team will give you the list of tables, and business analyst or your project manager will give you the details of which table to use for which KPI. This is actually a mandatory thing, because we go to a report and we have requirement to build a report. We are totally blank about what the background source is, right? And if you are working for the company previously, then that is totally a different story. But usually when we used to develop the report, so there will be separate team for each and every functions, right? For database development, there will be a separate team so that they can develop the view or they can give the access related things, everything to which requirement, to which table you have to use. And all these things can be done by the business analyst, or sometimes it depends on the company to company how they manage things. So you may need to consult with the business analyst or with the client person if they're interacting to someone, or also you can contact your project manager for any kind of clarification. Because just by seeing at the data itself, we are not able to grasp the things. Sometimes it's possible, but sometimes it is not. So it is must for you guys to follow these principles. So this is what I have experienced so far in my experience. Uh, Now, what are the advantages of doing this? So basically, first thing what you will get is you can easily complete the project if you have the domain knowledge, if you got the business requirement, and if you understand how things works. And the next thing is you will also get the business domain knowledge. That's actually a precious things for me, because today you are working for X company and you have experience of manufacturing. Tomorrow you are going to work for the same company and you got an experience of HR domain. And if you move on to a next company and they will ask you about what are the business domain knowledge you have, then you can easily say them that you have the knowledge of manufacturing, you have the knowledge of HR domain. So it is easy for them to pick you as a Power BI developer or any other role, because you have multiple domain knowledge and you can be fit for any of these areas. That's really amazing, actually. So whenever you get any kind of requirement, even though you don't have any experience, but please try to look into the requirement, understand the business requirement, because the learning is endless. For me, the learning is endless. Even though if you are getting it older and older, if you get 10, 15, 20 years of experience, but still we learn something else on a daily basis, right? So it is a good for you to understand, grasp as much as possible as you can the business requirement in a different domain, not only in one particular domain, in also different domain. Okay, now let's understand a simple data now, how this actually works. I'm going to stop the share and reshare my new screen. Okay, so now this is a small case study requirement which we got. The first thing is count the number of times a customer purchased during a fiscal year. First requirement. And the second requirement is count the number of times a customer purchased with the same agent during a fiscal year. So now here what we need to understand from this requirement first, before seeing the data actually. So here count the number of times, count the times, right? So count the times by customer purchased during a financial year. Purchased during a financial year. That is a fiscal year. This is the first requirement. And moving to the next one is actually the same thing. Count the number of customer purchased with the same agent actually. So additional information added here is agent. So these are the things which we need to extract. Okay, so now let's have a look at the data. this is just a sample data where it contains product key, order date key, and due date key, and then ship date key, and customer key, and then agent key, and then sales territory key, and then sales order number, order quantity, unit price, and sales amount. So this is the data they have given. Now, based on the question, what we need to do is we need to count the number of times a customer visit on a financial year, right? So this is the data. So we need to get the customer filtered, and we need to count the number of transactions we have, that is the sales order number, and it has to filter by order date, right? Why I'm saying is, now the requirement is clear for the customer, and number of times is usually because of the sales order number. Every time a customer purchases something, a new sales order will generate, right? That's the why we need to count the number of sales order. And they're asking about the fiscal year, right? Fiscal year is nothing but it has to be calculated based on the order date. So usually when a customer places an order, it's an order for the company, and it has to be updated on the system on whenever customer raise an order, right? So they will add it on a daily basis. So order date is now the base for us to calculate the fiscal year during this. So by keeping these three columns, order date and the customer key and then the sales order number, we need to filter the order date to be financial year, and this has to be key for the customer if customer, and we need to count the sales order. Count of times, number of times the customer purchased during a fiscal year. Okay, so now what I will do, I'm not going to add this into Power BI because both of the thing will, I will just work it out in Excel for now because both of the logic is similar, same. So I will just select the data, complete data here, and insert a new pivot table. Pivot table in Excel is the same matrix in Power BI. So here I am going to add the customer key as a column. Okay, let's filter some data here first. So I need to filter it by order date key. I'm going to add the order date key here. Is, for an example, let's filter this to few data. And I'm going to add the customer key in the column. Sorry, it has to be in the rows. And I need to add the count of sales order number in the value sheet. Okay. So by looking at this one, we have filtered the data to be a financial year. Let's say for an example, and these are the list of customers, and this is the count of sales order. Now, if you want to do the same thing in Power BI, then regularly you need to import this file into Power BI, and then you can just make the count of, calculate count of sales order, count of distinct sales order. Let's have a look at this one. Yeah, because the sales order is repeating here, so you can just make a count of distinct sales order so that you will get the distinct count. And if you add the customer key in the matrix table and add the measure of count of sales sync on the value section in the matrix table, and also if you filter the date to be the fiscal year, then you we are going to get the same result. Now the next requirement is we need to count the times of customer by agent and the fiscal year, right? So in that case, I'm going to keep the same matrix. I'm just going to add the agent key on the columns here. We also have column option in Power BI matrix, right? I'm going to add the same thing here. So by doing this, what happens is this customer and with this agent has bought one time, and these are all the same thing here. Okay, so this was I just want to show you this thing, how you need to understand the data and how you need to bring up the value from it. Okay, so now we have few minutes so that we can give the answers of any of the questions if you have. I will just go through the chat window one by one. Okay, the first question I want to answer it for myself. Unfortunately, I have set this as a private live session, so I'm not able to show the comments right now on the screen. Sorry about that. I will just read the comments which is you guys have posted in the chat window. It's actually asked by Sai Raghavendra. We'd like to know about you, your place, education, and work experience. Okay, thanks for the questions, Raghavendra. So, actually, I'm from Ambur, which is located in north part of Tamil Nadu in India, which is on the way to Chennai to Bangalore. So our place is famous for one is for leather goods and leather footwear, and other thing is Ambur biryani. So these two things is famous for our place. Um, and about my experience, overall, I have 15 plus years of experience in complete industries, and I have luckily I can say thanks to God that I have worked on a multiple business domains. I worked for manufacturing, I worked for HR, I worked for finance a bit, and I worked for sales and service. I worked for workforce management. I worked for a construction industry. So luckily, I have these multiple domain knowledges throughout my experience. So in Power BI, I have almost 6 years of experience now, and you all know about my channel and my content in that. Hope I answered your questions, Raghavendra. Please make a project using SQL, SSIS, SSAS, and SSRS. Uh, I have think I have made project on SQL Server and SSRS and Power BI, but for SSIS and SSAS, I'm still a beginner in that case. I need to learn about that. Um, so unfortunately, to be frank, I not able to make the video in near future about these things. Balaji, you and I look identical. Oh, it's really great. If you can message me in the WhatsApp, yeah, I have my numbers in the website, so we can connect sometime. Okay. Jarvis have a question. Does Power BI developer need to learn data warehouse concept, MSBI tools like SSIS, SSRS, and SSAS? Okay, this is actually a good question, I can say, because usually what happens is most of the people are saying that they are asking about the SQL Server, they are asking about SSIS, they are asking about SSAS during the interview process. What I can say, it is purely depend on the job which you are interviewing, right? Um, what if I say something like this? I pick you as a Power BI developer, and you have knowledge of SQL, SSAS, SSRS, and everything. But the company which I am deploying it to you is following SAP. In that case, even though you have experience of SQL Server and others, but now you need to learn SAP. Is it something like that? It's not actually, because the business will provide you the access, they will provide you the data, and from there you can build a transformation in Power Query and you can build your report on top of that. So for me, it's I can say it's an added advantage. It is not purely necessary being have a knowledge on Power BI, have a knowledge on SSAS, SSIS, and everything, because those things are actually a different thing. It is not related to the Power BI development. It's actually a part of it, but it is not compulsory, mandatory, I can say. Because usually when you look into a profile of a software developer in naukri.com or any other website, what they prefer, you need to have a knowledge of .NET, you need to have a knowledge of JavaScript, you need to have a knowledge of WCB, you need to have a knowledge of multiple tools, right? They are asking about. It is really not possible for a single person, and even if they have experience of 3 or 4 years, to grasp all these technologies in their mind. People will learn knowledge step by step itself. Everything can't be done in single place. So short and simple, for me, it is not a mandatory tool. I hope I answered your questions, Jarvis. Will the company Deepti Patil question, will the company tell us to prepare report for different domain or for a particular domain? Okay, this is also a good question. So Deepti, actually, the thing is, if you are working for a product-based company, right? Product in the sense they are developing a product, right? They are not providing softwares. In that case, they will manufacture something else. So they will have a different departments in their unit itself. Like they will have for manufacturing, they will have HR, they will have also have finance, they will also have customer support and supply chain, logistics, and everything. So if you are a part of the product company, then definitely you may need to develop all these reports. If you are the single person available as a Power BI developer in that company. So it means you need to be ready, but it is actually a good if you are into a certain role that you need to develop a report for multiple domains. It's actually good for you. I can. Um, Sir, please tell me from Vishal how and where we will be doing data cleansing and all this stuff. Okay, let me try to copy the questions here from Vishal. Yeah. So this is a question from Vishal. Mane sir, Mane sir, please tell me how and where we'll be doing data cleansing and all this stuff. So basically, Vishal, as per the experience by the experts, the first thing is you need to do everything in the backend source itself, whether we have Excel, SQL, SAP, Oracle, or whatever. It is good to get the clean data in Power BI. If it is not there, then you have to do all this stuff in Power Query itself. And something which you need to be make the calculation dynamic, then you have to prefer for the DAX calculations. So I hope I answered your question. Now moving on to the next. Hi Gani, you're from Anantapur. As a Power BI developer, what should we need to learn in Azure? Okay, okay, this is the question from Sandeep. It's as a Power BI developer, what should we learn in Azure? So I can say Azure is ocean and Power BI is just a part of when compared between these two. So if you really want to dig into Azure, then I prefer to go ahead with Azure Data Factory and Azure Data Bricks and Azure Data Lake. So these three things, most of the companies are using it in order to get the data from any kind of additional different sources and dump it into Data Lake. And from there, they're cleaning the data using Data Factory. So these are the three tools which you can prefer. One is Azure Data Lake, other thing is Azure Data Factory, and the third thing is Azure Data Brick. So Shafiq Ahmed's question is, can you please explain about running total while Shafiq, for your question, hopefully I will answer you in the next stream session because I don't have enough time to explain that in detail. I need to go and pick up my son from the school. Sorry about that, but I will sure make a note of it, and I will try to do this on either on a video or on the next live stream. Okay, Vanjana Jessica is sorry if I pronounce anyone's name wrongly. Power BI embedding in real time. Yeah, that's actually I also need to go in detail about it. I just have a basic videos in my channel, but in depth I still need to go through that. And I mean how to send report through Power BI embedded in companies. I mean how to send reports through Power BI embedded in companies. I'm not clear about your question, Vanjana. Can you please write me an email for that? so that we can discuss in more detail about it. Okay, so for Raz, will you do a proxy? Sorry about that. I don't do this proxy thing because that actually a good question. What you ask is because what I prefer is, even though if you crack the interview by using any kind of proxy, that is not a legal way. And even though if you do so, then you may face a lot of difficulty challenges while you are in the job. Because if you didn't understand the core basic concepts of Power BI, then it's really hard for you to develop the report in Power BI. Sorry if I if I hurt you something about my statement. Sofia Ahmadi, hi sir. Okay, the next thing is, can you? So this is a question from Harika. Harika, can you tell me how to analyze business criteria? For example, how to know about particular business, how to relate with Power BI to generate visualization. Yeah, this is what initially we discussed about this. I hope you joined a bit late. No issues. You can just go and watch the beginning of this session to understand about this thing. Even though I will tell you the short answer is these things business will give the requirement of how and what need to be done. But for an example, even though if the business are using some standard visuals, and if you can provide them a creative way and you can provide them a good visual to highlight the data clearly, in that case you can prefer to go suggest them a new visual. For an example, if you have a bar multiple charts, I don't have actually right now, so that just I'm saying it in the word. For an example, if you have the two parameters to show, one is order quantity and then the sales value, and you are showing it right now in the bar and then the line chart. So for me, it is good to show it in the scattered plotter chart so that we can get to know about this total sales value in the x-axis and total order quantity in the y-axis. So it will be easy for the user to understand which area has more value and more quantity, which area has low value and low quantity, something like that. This is just an idea. And what about the next thing is, as you mentioned, we should know domain. Initially, yeah, so this is the question from Sophia Adi. Add this here. I'm doing it manually here about all these chats. So this is a question from Sophia Ahmadi. As you mentioned, we should know the domain. It is not compulsory actually. Whenever you get the requirement, you need to understand the data and you need to ask the question from the business people to know about the domain. Keep asking the questions unless you get clear about yourself. How many types of domains are there for Power BI developers? Okay, this is also a question from Ahmedi. Um, it's actually how many types of domains are there for Power BI developers? I can say it's an endless. It's purely depend on the business which you have in the job. If they are working on a sales and service, it's completely related to sales and service and customer service. If you are in the manufacturing, then it will be product quality, inventory, and supply chain and logistics, and also customer service. Everything is there. If you are in a HR domain like consultancy, then you also need to have HR and recruitment kind of thing, and also if you need the payroll and everything. So right now I said about almost 10 to 15, right? So it's actually endless because Power BI is now using in every industry, whether it is for the ads or whether it is for um, air services, even railway, even for anything else, we can use the Power BI visualization. So it's an I can't justify this is only particular for this domain. It's an endless, in short and simple. Deepthi Patil, thanks a lot, sir, for answering Q&A. Thank you for your questions. And so it's a question from Ravi Kiran. It's actually about not able to paste it here because of the length. So I'll just read the question here. I have questions like I worked with a different DAX and different report in my previous company. So if I join in the new company, their DAX is which they use in new company new to me, bit difficult to understand. So do they give me time to learn? Obviously. So if you are joining a new company and there you have a new report, not new report, there you have the job of maintaining the existing report of Power BI, right? Then definitely they will give you time to understand the requirement. If they don't, then you have to ask them to give them the knowledge transfer first. That's the KT session we say. And you need to get all the necessary documents, how the previous developer has developed the report, and then you need to check with the business new requirement what they are, and then you need to analyze the data, how they have built the report, and if there is something which you feel that it can be done in a good way, then you have to modify all those things, and also you need to change the new requirement. So you have to do all these stuffs, but for me it is for the responsibility of the new company to give you the knowledge transfer first. If they don't, then you have to ask them to give you the knowledge transfer, or at least give you some time to learn about what they did. But it is difficult for anyone to learn by just looking at the report. It is good to have the knowledge transfer, at least the requirement document, to understand the existing report. Santosh, your videos are awesome. Thank you for your comment. Naranjina, I have learned Power BI, but at the time of implementation, I am blank what to do. Okay, this is also a good question. I will just take a couple of questions now. I'm getting late. So this is a question from Narayana Jina. I have I have learned Power BI, but at the time of implementation, I'm blank what to do. So this is actually a good question, Narayana. So I just need to have a bit more detail into it. What actually you are lacking? Um, Implementation in the sense of deploying it to production, or it's just about the working on the project itself? If it is working on the project itself, then you what I personally feel is you just need to be keep patience, keep calm, and you need to do more practice. Anything is possible in Power BI, you just keep in mind and you can do it. So this is the short and simple answer, so that you can it can be helpful for you. If you need something further detail, you can please email me or contact me. We can talk in detail about it. Mohammed, thank you, Adnan. How you seen about? Okay, I will just note a few of the questions and try to answer those in the next live stream, if possible, in future. Raghavendra, thank you, Adnan, for your thank you answer. Raghavendra and server training. Yeah, as Ali, even though I have Server knowledge, but I'm thinking about it. I will look into it to do videos on it. So Sandhya, actually I had just given the answers for this one. Is required to learn SSIS for Power BI developer. It is really not mandatory. You can just go a little bit back of this session so you can get clear with answer about it. Asmath, please explain about direct query in short term. Okay. Um, it's actually about the questions. So Asmat Ali has asked about, please explain about direct query in short terms. Direct query in short is data is not being stored in Power BI file itself. It's in the source itself. Whenever user interact with any of the data visual, then only Power BI go and fetch the data from the source and display it to you. This is a short and simple answer. I'll just take one last question now. I have taken out the questions which I have not answered to answer it separately. Nagaraja, we have question about has the role of SQL in Power BI. What topics need to be learned? I have just explained about this in a bit short while. Please have a look at that my answer. Hari, yes. Sir, we need to write a complex queries in Power BI for test the data. It is really not required, Hari, actually, in order to test the data, you can write a simple itself. It is not like you need to write a complex thing. It's purely depend on the requirement, the KPI, the metrics, whatever they follow. Balaji, Oma, please make a project including exercise, SSS, and Power BI. Yeah, actually, there's a lot of requirement coming up here. I will try to do that, but I'm not sure when I'm going to do that, unfortunately. Because just for you people to know, my prime focus is on moving on to the Power Platform, other thing like Power Apps, Power Automate, and Power Virtual Agent, because that area is also has a lot of potential to go ahead in the near future. So Power BI and the Power Platform family will have a huge impact, huge potential in near future. All right. So I have just taken out a few questions. Hopefully, I will answer this in the next sessions. I really need to go now, so I'm getting late. Thank you, everyone, from the bottom of my heart to joining this live session with me and spending a 1 hour time with me. So I hope everyone has learned something new and it was helpful 1 hour session for you guys. And have a good day. See you in the next live session and keep watching my videos. Thank you and have a good day.